So we chose a young adult novel, Catcher in the Rye, and a book that is really good for younger readers, a picture book called And Tango Makes Three. And go ahead.
Okay, so some of you might be familiar with Catcher in the Rye, so I'll just read like 2 or 3 sentences how it starts off. If you really want to hear about it, the first thing you'll probably want to know is where I was born, and what my lousy childhood was like, and how my parents were occupied, and all before they had me, and all that Daybrook Copperfield kind of crap. But I don't feel like going into it, if you want to know the truth. In the first place, that stuff bores me. And in the second place, my parents would have had about 2 hemorrhages apiece if I told anything pretty personal about them. They're quite touchy about anything like that, especially my father.
And that's Catcher in the Rye, and this is And Tango Makes Three, and it's a true story about 2 penguins that find love. They happen to be same-sex, and they form a family. And the authors actually go into how on the 10th anniversary they commemorated the book. For a flightless bird, Tango has traveled remarkably far over the past 10 years. On her way around the globe, she has delighted countless kids, changed some minds about what makes a family, and ruffled a few feathers. What stands out first has to be the 5th graders who grew up in their Manhattan gymnasium, speeches in hand, to explain why their class was giving our book an award for furthering. There were sobering developments like Singapore's decision to remove every copy of her book from its libraries and pulp them, and joyful ones like the outpouring of support that followed, culminating in a read-in at the Singapore National Library, where hundreds of parents simply sat and read their children our book. The government backed down. Life today is different in so many ways from life in 2005, but for all of the major social and political developments the last 10 years, to us the most significant has been the most local. Following in the web footsteps of Roy and Sila, we had a daughter. It is to her that we dedicate this 10th anniversary edition.
Yeah, and now I can make a comment or two, right? But yeah, so what I'd like to say is, I think we tend to think of banning books or ideas as something that often the right does. Or also very important to realize that there's a lot of intolerance from the left and from like so-called progressives, and I'm actually rather shocked by that. I mean, in terms of so many of songs that were banned on radio stations because there are certain words that people don't like, even though it doesn't look at the context of them. It doesn't look at what the song is trying to say, or certain books. So I think that's really important. There are certain publishers I know where a lot of their books were banned by, quote unquote, liberal people who are supposedly interested in different ideas because they didn't like the way that, that certain ideas were portrayed, or just like 1 or 2 words here and there. So I think that's a real problem, and it's very hypocritical. Thank you.